Hello. Thank you for attending this presentation. The Camino as Spiritual Hike, an autoethnographic inquiry of a modern Druid's connection with ancestral Gaul while along the way. Now, I took the 1,490 pictures over 8 days of this spiritual hike, including all that you're going to see in this presentation, with the exception of only one. This autoethnographic research study used narrative to explore and bring meaning to an 8-day spiritual hike or pilgrimage along the Chemin de Saint-Jacques de Compostelle, also known as the GR65, a secular hiking route through rural France and more widely known as the Camino de Santiago de Compostella in Spain. While traditionally this part of the Camino Pilgrim Trail, many who follow this route in France are not pilgrims, or rather they are pilgrims on their own terms. This is my experience as well. I want to introduce myself with some focus on the last term, Druid. Yes, I am a Druid, a modern pagan seeking to connect with a land where my spiritual ancestors, the ancient Gauls, once walked. This is the area of problematization of a modern pagan walking a traditional Catholic pilgrim path. While often spoken about as a single path, in reality, there are numerous pilgrim paths that all lead to the Spanish city of Santiago de Compostella, the medieval terminus for those seeking forgiveness of sins, and the blessing of St. James, who tradition holds, is buried in the cathedral there. This is the focus of many of the Catholic pilgrims following this route, the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostella in Spain, where people are historically recorded as walking to for over 1,000 years. This is not just an old site for some people. 350,000 people in 2019, the last full year before the pandemic happened, walked into Santiago. I was one of them. By the way, this is the one picture I did not take in 2022. Instead, I took it in 2019 when I walked the Camino in Spain for 10 days, shortly before COVID shut down most travel. When I got to Santiago in Spain, I did not feel fulfilled. I felt strangely empty, even while checking off a major item on my bucket list. It took some time, though, and I learned I needed silence to commune with nature. So I decided to spend 8 days walking this past summer in 2022, starting 1,515 kilometers or 941 miles away from Santiago in Le Puy-en-Velay in rural France. Historians trace the first documented pilgrims across the Pyrenees having come from here, and he was none other than the Bishop of Le Puy and his retinue. They walked to Santiago de Compostela in 951. This is truly an ancient route. Now, I wanted to walk the same path, or at least part of it, for a very different reason. You see, we speak of these paths as if they are one, yet they are not. While the numerous paths are often considered literally spiritually, they are more complex. Autoethnographic inquiry was used to problematize aspects of this event. The path was along a 1,000-year-old Catholic pilgrimage route, yet it was traveled by a modern Druid who walked to experience the natural religion and the old gods along the journey rather than as a faraway destination. I could not voice at the time why I felt this way, and it was not until 1.5 years ago that I stumbled upon what I really wanted and needed, some guidance as to how to do this pilgrim hike in France. I know some French, though I needed help really understanding what I got myself into as I embarked upon a journey into mystery. Nothing can fully prepare us for spiritual pilgrimage, including the literature itself. The learning itself occurs while on the journey and along the path. Thinking about it alone does not equate to the experience of taking the first step, and then another, and so on. This dissonance between intentions, assumptions, and meaning-making is shared by many who walk the Camino. There is little research, however, about how modern pagans, those who love nature, nature's creatures, the power of nature, the beauty of nature, the diversity, color, shape, texture, mystery, and oneness of the natural world, and all who seek to transform with it simply resounds within us. However, there is little research about how modern pagans perform spiritual tourism. I redefined sacred space as spiritually connecting to ancestral Gaulish cultures, those who walked the same path long before Christianity and even before the Romans were present there. The Gauls were the ancient indigenous people of what is now France, Belgium, Switzerland, southern Germany, Austria, northern Italy, and even the Czech Republic. This study explores how the Chemin helped me to experience and make sense of the gods of the ancient Gauls along the route, even when on paper the path focuses only on a single deity. The literature does not agree on a single definition of pilgrimage, so I define it inclusively as walking with spiritual intention. Overt spiritual intention was found within many villages along the path. The value of telling the story is intended to broaden the literature, while connecting readers who are conflicted in their call to travel a spiritual path, where the external does not match the internal. I did what many Druids, and indeed many modern pagans often do. I found a fitting place to make offerings to the gods, the ancestors and the nature spirits of ancient Gaul, making them new again. This was the offering made on this boulder along the way that had the appearance of a nature or a natural altar. This happened through taking quite time in the liminal spaces where mystery can more readily be found. Near the end of the trip, I took the prayers and intentions I carried with me in my pocket from many anonymous people who asked me to remember what was most dear to their hearts and minds, and I burned them up as an offering until nothing remained but the fervent intentions and energies to bring good into a world that greatly needs it. So what did I learn? Along an ancient pilgrim path, weaving its way around commerce, yet always showing how the healing presence of nature, even when suffering and facing impossible odds, often at the hands of people, still stands tall, with wisdom growing from the same soil where the old gods can be glimpsed from just around the bend, seen and experienced if we only take the time to notice them, or within the boundaries betwixt and between. So what did I learn while along this path? The journey is the destination. We cannot hurry up things of the spirit, including making sense of what we ought to be doing. It has been 6 months since my walking the Chemin in France, and it ever lingers with me. A day does not go by without my thinking about it. Meaning making comes in time and continues to unfold. Connecting with nature invites silence. With so much busyness in the world, it is only through silence can we experience presence and mystery. I need to walk, and I learned that walking prayer and meditation is central to my spiritual work. Thank you for joining me on this walk, and I wish your journey well, wherever it may lead you. Thank you.